Today I'm going to be doing a BLT pasta salad. This is great for any family get-togethers, just a quick easy meal, potlucks, anything like that. A little bit different than the Italian salad. I know there's a lot of pasta salads out here. This happens to be one of Mike's favorites. The first step is you're going to want to cook your bacon. I don't pan fry my bacon anymore. I always bake it in the oven. I do like to use parchment paper. It'll stick. Believe it or not, bacon will stick. So I like to line that with parchment paper and I put it in there. I know it's overlapping a little bit here, but as it cooks down, I'll go ahead and kind of flip it over and divide it apart. We're going to want to bake this at 400 degrees. You'll just have to kind of keep an eye on it till what you like. I kind of like mine a little crispy, especially in the salad. I can't quite tell you how long that's going to take because it's all going to depend on if you have thick slice, thin slice, how crispy you want your bacon. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to get this in there. And while that bacon's cooking, I'm going to go ahead and get our water boiling. We're going to use 1 box of pasta. It doesn't matter the brand name or whatever. This is just what I happen to have in hand. You can use any kind. I personally prefer either this or like the bow ties, but use whatever kind of pasta you like. I just usually use 1 box, 1 pound. You're going to want a little bit of either mayo, Miracle Whip. It doesn't matter if it's name brand or not. I like a little bit of the tang of like some type of a salad dressing over a mayo in the salad, but that's all to your own choice. You're going to want a little bit of ranch dressing. Brand does not matter. This is just, I went to do this and realized we were out and I had to go to a nearby gas station, which is still like 8 miles down the road. And this is just what they had. You're going to want some diced tomatoes, diced cucumbers, about 4 ounces of shredded cheese. I prefer cheddar, and then I diced about half an onion here. Now, when I go to add my tomatoes and my cucumbers, I'll just kind of eyeball it. I like to use the cucumbers because it kind of takes place of that cooling method of the lettuce that you would have in a BLT. Tomatoes, this is kind of what happened. I had a cucumber and a half in the fridge, and they were getting ready to go, and then I had some little grape tomatoes and a couple aromas left, so I diced them up, and I'm like, well, I got a pound of bacon in the fridge. Let's do something cool like that. So all we're gonna do, and then I'll catch up after this, is just get your bacon to the consistency you want. I'll probably catch up with you on that before we actually mix everything together, just to kind of show you how I cook it in the oven, how I flip it when it gets to that stage and stuff. And you're just gonna want to boil your pound of noodles, and that's getting close to going, and once that gets going, I'll catch up with you. I'll kind of show you the next step in that. So this is about the time that I'll take my bacon out of the oven, and we're just going to kind of split it apart a little bit and flip it over a little bit. Just going to grab some of these and just kind of flip them over just to get them crispy. Some people might like their bacon this way. I like it crispy in my salad here, so I'm just going to go ahead while these noodles are boiling and just kind of give this a little bit of flip, and they don't have too much longer, maybe just another minute or two. Once I get them all turned over, I'm going to place them back in the oven, and I just want to kind of show you that part, and I'll catch up with you after the bacon and the noodles are done. We're back. Boiled my noodles. After they were boiled, I rinsed them off in cold water. I know sometimes they say don't rinse your noodles. Well, when you're actually doing cold pasta salad, it's probably pretty good to make sure your noodles are cold first. So I rinsed those off, and I just took our bacon, and yes, it is a little bit more crispy. Even if you're not a great big fan of crispy bacon, once this is in the salad, it's also going to soften up a bit. So I like to do mine crispy, and I just kind of coarsely chopped it up in there. So we're just going to start adding everything together here. So we got our noodles. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to pour the bacon in there. We're going to pour the onions and cheese in there, or scoop them in there. Just give that a little bit of a stir. Now I already know that I like half an onion, I like a pound of bacon, and about half a block, 4 ounces of cheese in there. So I just go ahead and add that in there. Then we're going to come in and we're going to add some mayo. Now I prefer more of a salad dressing with a little bit of tang in this. Depending on how you like your BLTs, if you prefer the actual mayo, you can use the actual mayo too. It doesn't need to be no name brands. I've done this with every brand out there, every kind of style. Just going to give a couple scoops. This is all going to kind of determine your preference in this. And then we're going to give a good old squeeze of ranch. Believe it or not, you probably don't eat your BLTs with ranch, but it does give it a good flavor between everything. A little bit of that seasoning. It is a pasta salad. We're just going to kind of work that in there a little bit. And then you're going to add your own preferences. And this is what's really nice about pasta salads or soups or whatever. Your own preference and how many tomatoes. So I'm just going to start adding some tomatoes in there. And add some of these cucumbers. I think I got about 1.5 English cucumbers cut up. Add that in there. There was, I don't know, a good handful of grape tomatoes and 2 Romas that I cut up in there. We're just going to go ahead and stir that in. One more dab, one more squirt. I'm just going to go ahead and add the rest of these tomatoes and cucumbers in there. I like a lot of variety, a lot of veggies in my pasta salads, a lot of bacon. You could definitely do more bacon if you wanted to. I did a pound up for this. You're just going to mix this together. It's looking pretty good. At this point, you know, you can go ahead and try a noodle. I think it's got a really good flavor. I do suggest this is done to the point of putting it in the fridge. I'll put it that way. I would suggest refrigerating this for a couple hours, and you may have to add a little milk, depending on how much you cook your noodles or whatever. It may absorb a bit of this, and if it is a little bit dry, you can add a little bit more ranch if you'd like it a little bit more zesty, a little bit more mayo, a little bit of milk if everything seems good, just a little dry. But I would probably refrigerate this for 2 hours overnight. Like if you're doing this for a potluck or a get together the next day, you can do this up the night ahead of time, and then just add a little mayo or milk or ranch dressing if it needs a little bit more the next morning. But I would say at least refrigerate for 2 hours, kind of let everything absorb, really chill. After an hour, maybe take it out, give it a good stir, see if you prefer a little bit more mayo, a little bit more ranch. You probably even do mayo and just add a little bit of a ranch dressing packet, the dry powder, whatever you have on hand. I like to do this when I just got stuff in the fridge I'd like to use up. I'm going to go ahead and refrigerate this for a couple hours, a good hour. Give it a stir, give it another stir, and Mike will have his great pasta salad he likes so much tonight to munch on. So thank you for joining us. Stay tuned. I think after I get cleaned up after this, Amanda, my best friend, and I get out of there. Amanda, my best friend, she's behind the camera today, and I are going to do her favorite snickerdoodles. It is a great snickerdoodle recipe. I worked with someone who's done this kind of stuff their whole life, and so that was the best snickerdoodle they ever had. So we're going to get on that after I get cleaned up on this one. And I hope you check in and watch me on that one. And please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll catch up with you later.